Buddy, Myles Garrett is the defensive MVP this year, right?
I mean, as of now, we have a long way to go.
He is the front runner. He's the leader.
Wait, but here's the question,
right now,
Jay.
Right?
Can we get you flipped back on to Myles Garrett?
I've never been flipped off Myles Garrett.
No.
Here's what I've always said.
You had T.J. Watt ahead of him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And here's what I've always said. I see it out of T.J. Watt. I see it out of Aaron Donald. I need Myles Garrett to be great when it matters most. I need him to. I don't want a sack in a 27-3 game with 2 minutes to go and then a pose. I don't need that. It just does nothing for me.
Yeah.
I want impact plays, and that was exactly the guys.
So you got him back on top.
Here's why.
Back on top.
Because I know he can do it.
He was amazing.
I know he's that good. Yesterday, and I'm not going to say it's the first time in his career, but more than any game that this guy has played for the Cleveland Browns, yesterday he told the entire team, hop on, boys, I'm taking you to the victory. Where would we be without Myles Garrett in that game? Just look at it. We won by a point. He blocked the field goal.
Yeah.
And not just blocked it, he blocked it in superhuman. I think he had a cape on when he did that.
Look at that. With 2 sacks today, Myles Garrett, 82 career sacks, turns 28 this season, surpassed Reggie White for most sacks by a player prior to his 28th birthday since 82 when the stat sack became official. By the way,
no one had that many before either.
By the way,
let's put that in context.
That needs to be said. Deacon Jones was great, but he wasn't that great.
On Pro Football Reference, they've been going back looking at game logs.
I heard someone was doing that. I didn't know it was Pro Football Reference.
And supposedly, I can't remember who it is now, that Michael Strahan doesn't have. Somebody had like 23 sacks one year. I can't remember who it is.
I can't believe that because they didn't throw the ball that much.
That's why I would say there's no way anybody had 82 before they were 28.
I can't imagine. No. I mean,
they didn't throw the ball that much, and really, you didn't see exotic blitzes like you see now. I mean, the sack game is different now, obviously.
Myles Garrett is being allowed to do freaky things, and for once, the coaching staff has come around to the fact that nobody's physically better than him.
Not just that, they're
not
encouraging him
like
to
jump over other humans, things like that.
Come on over here, Myles, on block team. Jump over this dude and block this punt real quick. Not to mention, he was very impressive in the run game. That 1 tackle for loss, they need to look at that because I counted 3 tackles for losses just in the run game yesterday. 2 strip sacks, the touchdown he caused, the dude.
He almost caused an interception. He batted the ball straight up in the air. Tomlinson never saw it.
He had the pass breakup.
It fell right in front of him.
Man, this guy is playing at an all-time. I mean, it's crazy.
I think he's the first player ever, right, to have 2 strip sacks and a block kick in the same game.
That's just.
I think that's never. here. Since at least 91.
Yeah,
2 plus sacks, 2 plus 4 fumbles. 2 plus 4 fumbles and a block field goal in the same game. Yeah, I mean he's the best defensive player.
And even if your defense, that's why I'm slow to criticize. Even if the defense didn't play well, you still got that guy.
Oh no, they didn't play well.
Even if defense didn't play well, you still won the game because of defense.
Because of him.
Because of Myles Garrett.
Yeah. Well, him and Hopkins, yes.
They're the MVPs right now.
Yeah.
On that block, I was talking to him at his locker, and he said it was something they saw in film. That the Colts were slow to rise, basically.
On field goal.
Yeah, and he knew he could get over
You know how
him.
risky that is? If one of the linemen stands up and hits him at the apex of his jump, he's falling about 12 feet.
Yeah,
Because he's going to get propelled up in the air.
He could injure himself.
And God knows
on
what.
his head.
I think that's a one-off, guys. I don't think he can do that ever again.
Well, they'll be aware now because he said
and that's why he can never do it again.
He told me the Colts were calling it out the rest of the game after that.
I bet.
So
now, and
that's a one-shot.
You got one chance to get that right.
You can't do that, right?
No, you just can't.
You can't touch
jump
your
off somebody
players.
else. You can't leapfrog. You can't launch yourself off somebody else.
So I thought you could get a running start and just jump over but they won't let you jump over like the center when the ball
I don't know
snaps.
if that's a rule in college or not. I know the rule in the NFL is you can't use an assist from one of your guys.
Right.
Because I remember, no, listen, when I was in college, I was joking around with somebody. I'm like, man, I'm telling you, if I was on punt or on special teams, I literally would have 2 guys stand here and clasp hands, and I'd have somebody get a running start, hit that, and throw him up. He's going to block every kick.
That's
Guys, can we just take a moment to think about the fact that a 6'4", 275-pound human being had the athletic ability to leapfrog offensive linemen. I don't care that they were
and
bent
time
over.
it out.
And time it out perfectly.
No, even more impressively, he did it from a defensive stance.
I know he did.
He wasn't standing. It wasn't a running start. That was from a defensive stance.
It's unbelievable.
3 points on the ground.
I don't know that there's
Over an
another
offensive
player
lineman.
It is
No.
that
correct.
could ever. I
No.
mean, could what's his name with the Cowboys make that
Micah
play?
Parsons.
Michael
I don't think
Parsons.
so. I
He
don't
probably
think so.
could.
Maybe.
I don't think he could.
That'd be the only other guy I could
know,
see in
man.
the league.
There's a lot of people who jump 40-inch verticals. Now,
Not a lot of
it's-
6'4", 275 guys.
From a 3-point stance?
Well, in reality, you don't need to be that big. It's a hindrance that you're that big.
Yes.
The fact that he
that's
can
what we're
do it
saying.
at
That's what I'm
that
saying.
size
Yeah, it's
is
absurd.
absolutely defies what we know about athleticism.
So basically,
That's why I want him on offense, by the way.
you can't.
I said that before the season.
It was
Let's
last year.
go,
I
man.
don't know why he's not on offense. I really don't. You're telling me that if you had 4 cracks at it, now I know they had to throw the ball yesterday, but I like our chances with Myles Garrett in the backfield to get that yard.
In the playoffs.
He may jump
save
the
that
hell
for the
over
playoffs.
everybody and
They've
get
got to
there.
be working on that for the playoffs.
It is a foul. I
hope
was
so.
correct. It is a foul. They said if it's a foul if a defensive player moves forward and tries to block a field goal by leaving his feet and leaping into the plane directly above the frame of the body of an opponent. That's in college. So
Yeah.
you can't do it in college, but obviously it's the pros. I didn't know that the rule was different.
Maybe they'll change it. But
But-
they're going to change the push play for
They
Philly.
shouldn't change that. Other teams could do it. They don't do it as well.
I agree they shouldn't,
Yeah.
but it's going to be changed.
I hope not.
Because it's a cheat code. Because you got a quarterback that squats 600 pounds or whatever it is.
What, there are
Like,
other strong quarterbacks?
Not that
I mean,
strong.
come on.
Not that strong.
I mean, it's a rugby scrum.
That's ridiculous.
Anyway,
They're 100% on that. I don't think they've been stopped all year.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Speaking of trick plays and a little tease for tomorrow, we have Jay Gruden, who we taped an interview with this
Oh, how was
Saturday.
that?
Phenomenal.
He was great.
Jason and Bull came in with really insightful stuff.
Great.
And he talked about
Where is he now? USFL or something?
No, he's
Or, I mean,
he was his last coaching stint was actually with Urban Meyer in Jacksonville. He was the OC on that team, and now he's doing some gambling, some
Can't start
analysis stuff
everybody.
on the side.
Got it.
But essentially, he drew up a trick play, and I'm not going to give it away. You have to watch tomorrow.
Okay.
The trick play that if Myles Garrett was involved, just game over.
Yeah.
Like there are ways. There has to be ways. in
Can we get that
Stefanski's
over to
mind.
the Browns?
Yeah, actually, when they hear it, we should forward. this to
Stefanski
them.
loves trick plays. I'm sure he's
And you know what?
mauled it.
A lot of the. Now, I think he had some success with trick plays yesterday.
Goodwin had a nice.
The
little,
Goodwin run.
Yeah.
Was a-
Run.
was-
Well,
that worked.
Yep.
And there was another one that in the moment I thought that's a pretty good
There
play.
was another one I thought with Elijah Moore, who played his best game yesterday, Elijah Moore.
Yeah.
By the way.
What do you have?
What do you do?
4 catches?
4 for 54.
I mean, how many you want him to have? You keep saying that as
Listen.
if it's his fault.
Listen.
You have the worst quarterback in the league.
I'm judging by what I was told before this season
I
is going
know
to change
that,
my
and
life.
I laughed at those people.
I
but
need 8 for 100.
considering the quarterback threw one good pass the whole game, I thought he was a factor in the game.
He had some decent throws in there. He was 50%. He was just under 50%.
That's horrible.
It is. It's horrible, but that means he threw 14 completions.
That
His
doesn't mean
best
they were all
throw of the
good
day
throws.
Was to Elijah Moore on that last drive.
And
by
it
the
was
way-
the biggest,
Best throw of
too.
the day.
It was the biggest.
But-
That's why I said there's something to this guy. I don't
No.
want him for the first
There's
3
nothing to
quarters.
him.
There's nothing to
12
him.
minutes.
I do have a question.
But he looked good when
By
he
the way,
needed
can
to
I
look good.
off topic for a second?
Can't take it away. He
I ain't playing with
he doesn't make that throw. That's an L.
There's nothing to him.
Off topic for a second. It's normally like freezing in here, which I love. Does it feel like 1,000 degrees in the studio today?
No.
Or am I crazy?
He's got a leather jacket on.
Hey man, you gotta
No?
you just
I
gotta be.
feel like the heat is
you
really
gotta be
pumping
cool,
in right
Bull.
now.
You can't
No?
be moving your top body like that. You be doing a lot of hand gestures, Bull.
Jay, question for
Get
you real
myself
quick. Then we're going
tired.
to talk about Dustin Hopkins, then we're going to
Yeah.
get to the rest of the stuff. But defensively speaking, Myles Garrett obviously was phenomenal yesterday. The rest of the defense, not up to par with what we've seen through the first 5 weeks. Do you look at what happened against Indianapolis as an anomaly, some sort of blueprint on how to attack this Jim Schwartz-style defense, or just a blip in the radar for a team that finally returned to more of the median as opposed to their superhuman status?
We talked about it Friday that it was a trap game. I think it 100% played out that way. I think the Browns read a lot of articles about their performance against the 49ers. They came in with a obviously false sense of bravado and confidence. I hope this is an eye-opener and that we start to see more of the first four out of 5 games defensively that we had from this team. But it wasn't I'm not ready to say that's who this defense is.
Of
so
course
on that,
it's not.
it's an anomaly.
The Browns are a very good defense. They've been a very good defense. This idea that they were going to be the 85 Bears was ludicrous and remains ludicrous. Okay? I just said last week there's going to be up and down games. The Browns have I still think the Browns, despite yesterday, have the best defense in football. I just never bought that it was an all-time great defense.
I think statistically they still are number one.
I don't care. They're not. The Bears had 6 freaking Hall of Famers.
Number one in the NFL this year.
Based on what?
On statistics. I think yards allowed.
I don't care about yards allowed.
They're first in yards allowed. They fell to 10th in points allowed.
Right. Well, you give up 38, that's going to happen.
Yeah, listen. The Browns have a really good defense. There's a handful of teams that have really good defenses. The Browns can't win on defense alone. They're not going to consistently be able to do it. Let's be realistic about it. It's a really good defense. I don't think they're clearly not as bad. They played poorly yesterday. It was weird. The missed assignments that we saw last year, the bad tackles. The Greg Newsome tackle on the long touchdown was ridiculous. Josh Downs killed him early in the game. And, it's not like the Colts have superstar wide receivers. Pittman's really good.
You still have to take into account what they did to the 49ers. I mean, they're both. They're somewhere in the middle. They're not as good as they played against the 49ers, and I don't think they're as bad as they played against the Colts. But I will say, I watched the Vikings-Eagles game last night.
Eagles.
Eagles-Dolphins.
Dolphins, yeah.
And the one thing that jumped out at me when the game was over, I think my biggest takeaway was, again, we talked about how great defense can trump a great offense. The Eagles took the number 1 rated offense, and it wasn't even close. The difference between the Dolphins offense and everybody else was a canyon, and they beat them with great defense. They shut them down, and they did it with great defense.
But the Eagles just lost the week before. You can't make a huge selling point based on one game.
They shut down an offense that even when I think the Bills allowed 20 to the Dolphins. The Bills shut them down with defense too, but also just scored like it was going crazy.
It's not all or nothing. I don't believe the Browns came in there and were cocky or whatever the case may be. The Colts, these guys get paid too. Like Gardner Minshew, that's why I said when you ask who you want, Anthony Richardson or Gardner Minshew playing, this is why I'm always an advocate of going to get you a veteran. He may not be the greatest guy in the world, but guess what? He's not going to do certain things a rookie will do. He has some savvy, some moxie. He can get out and move his legs. He finds ways to win because he's a savvy backup. The thing that I'm looking at for the Browns, they had poor tackling, right? But it ebbs and flows from playing defense. We were tackling well, right? We were shutting people down. We got 4 turnovers this game, right? So, you take the good with the bad. You can either say, we're going to shut them down, ain't nobody getting no points, or you want the turnovers. Sometimes turnovers come with stuff. So, for me, you're not going to play every game where you're going to shut everybody out. These guys are professionals. They had a really good running game. I like their game plan. But here's the thing. You know that the Browns can turn it up. You know where the Browns' A game is, right? So we now know where the Browns' C game is. This is what it looks like when you got a C game.
What's funny is they gave up 38 points and took the ball away 4 times.
It's the way it bounced like that.
But a lot of weird things about this season so far.
That's why you lose.
Not a lot makes sense. The bottom line is they're 4-2.